Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel, Don't Speak English. Today, I'm going to show you my daily lives. And by the way, long time no see, guys. I'm just, I was like, busy this week. I had a lot of homework and some, yeah, especially this week, is a final week, so yeah, I didn't have enough time to create a new video. So, but today, this morning, I just finished my last finals. So, yeah, from today, it is first a winter vacation for me in United States. So I'm gonna enjoy my um yeah free time. Yeah, for sure. So anyway, this is a winter Christmas season, right? So I'd like to. I'm studying Bible. Yeah, I'm a avid Bible reader right now, and my Christian friends gave me some books, and yeah, and I will read out this book for you guys. This book is written in English, of course, so it is good for my English study as well. So let's enjoy the Christmas book together. The title of this book is Christmas Inkart. The author, the writers, the it's like Carl Leferton. Yeah. The explanation of the book is about what really happened and why it really matters. Yeah. So why Christmas is matters? Why Christmas matters and what happened in real Christmas? So yeah, I'm happy to share you this book, you guys. Okay, let's go. And actually, I finished the section one, so I'm going to lead so I'm going to uh, sorry. Mhm. Uh, Restart. I'm going to restart to read this book. Okay, let's get started. Section 2, Meeting Loyalty, the Angel. Oh, by the way, so when you read out something, it doesn't matter whether it doesn't matter if so sorry whether this sentence is English or not doesn't matter. So generally, when you read out something, you should uh you should try to read out the sentences as fast as you can, because by doing that you will be able to understand the limit of your reading reading aloud. So yeah, especially studying English, no, especially for non-native speakers, the the challenging part is the to catch up with the fast native speakers, right? When you talk with the native speaker, the, you're struggling with their first speaking speed, right? So to follow their fast English, you should also get used to um, the high speed. So yeah, I'm gonna show you by leading out as fast as I can. So let's go. The From the moment when the couple in charge of the year's nativity decided that the children involved would improvise their own words, there was always a serious chance things that would go wrong. Sorry, I can't understand. I already did. From the moment when the couple in charge of that year's nativity decided that the children involved would improvise. All right, I'm gonna check the vocabulary I cannot understand. So yeah, after finishing the one chapter, I'll go back the first of chapter at the beginning of the chapter, and I will check the vocabulary I couldn't understand, and I will also the take notes phone, on my app, and yeah, I'm making the flashcard for the vocabulary I didn't know. So yeah, this is the way of my English running. It looks like so um I'm so sorry.目立たない、目立た地味。It it's plain and simple and boring. It looks like boring process. It's like boring for you guys, but the learning something is always boring, right? When I studied the chemistry or when I studied the biology, it was totally boring. There are no fun. So yeah, if you if you get used to doing if you get used to this, that's okay. That will work. I guarantee it. So I guarantee it. It's correct or not? Okay. I guarantee. Right. I guarantee that you will be satisfied. Okay. I guarantee that you can be a good person, good English learner. All right. Let's go. From the moment when the couple in charge of that year's nativity decided that the children involved would improvise their own words, there was always a serious chance things would go wrong. The performance began smoothly enough. The children were loving it. Their parents and grandparents and aunts and neighbors were too. Um, all right, but then the angels appeared to the shepherds. The tea towel head dress wearing young shepherds had been told that angels were not cuddly or cute, and that they were in fact scary. And one of the shepherds had thought hard about sorry, and one of the shepherds had thought hard about how sorry, I cannot understand the grammatical composition. All right. 文法構造 grammatical 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 composition. I cannot understand the grammatical composition. Sorry. That they were in and while the shepherds had thought hard about how he would react if he saw a terrifying angel. As the brown-haired girl playing Chief Angel compete with a white sheet and gold tinsel, appeared on stage and opened her mouth to begin speaking. He jumped up. "Arr!" he shouted, loud, and with that the shepherd disappeared off the stage, leaving several toy lamps and a deserted chief angel. She announced the birth of Jesus to an empty stage. What really happened? Mary's pregnancy went without a hitch. Her birth plan, however, was severely disrupted. When the Roman Emperor Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world, he didn't know and wouldn't have cared that Mary was 9 months pregnant. All his subjects had to go to their own town to register. And so Mary and Joseph faced an 80-mile trip from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judah to Bethlehem, the town of David, because Joseph belonged to the house and line of David, who'd been who'd been king 1,000 years before. Who'd been king 1,000 years before. While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born, and Mary gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in fields near their flocks at night. They had to. They too had no bed. Being a shepherd was dirty, boring, lonely. Someone had to do it, and everyone else had was glad it wasn't them. But it was to these shepherds that God the Father chose to announce the arrival of his Son. An angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them. They were terrified. They knew that coming face to face with God's glory, his pure, masked purification was too much for mere people. The angel said to them, wait, I got it, said to them, "Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people. Today in the town of David a Savior has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign to you that what I'm saying is true. You will find a baby wrapped in clothes and lying in a manger." The shepherds began to pick themselves off the floor. They had seen God's glory and lived. The heavenly messengers appear to have brought good news about the baby, not bad news about their inability to live in God's presence. Suddenly, a great company of angels appeared, praising God. And then, as quickly as it appeared, the shepherds realized the angels had left them and gone into heaven. A darkness returned, and all that was left was a flock of startled sheep and a few stunned shepherds. Alright? Why it really matters. I'd like you to meet. How do you introduce people? You are at a family gathering with a new boyfriend or girlfriend, or you are at a meeting with a new colleague. How do you introduce them to everyone else? It seems to me that we usually do it by saying who they're related to or what they do. It's John. This is Lizzie, my girlfriend or Lizzie. This is John, my grandma's nephew. Or it's Hannah. This is Tom, who's joined us in the marketing team. Or Tom, there's Hannah, our regional manager. Family relationships and job descriptions tell you a lot about someone. And through an angel on a hillside, God introduced his son to the world in exactly the same way, by outlining who he was related to and what his job was. Double loyalty. So who was this hours old baby related to? Today in the town of David, the angel said a baby had been born who was the Lord. The angel was pointing to the baby's two family trees. On one side, he was related to King David, Israel's greatest ever ruler, who was still remembered and respected, a little like how Winston Churchill or America's founding fathers are still remembered and respected by many today for their achievements. There is less debate about his legacy. That's why Mary had to give birth on the floor of an animal shelter instead of the bed in her house. Both she and Joseph were part of David's family, which came from Bethlehem, so they had to travel there for the census. David's family and following a long way, Joseph didn't sit on the throne in the capital, Jerusalem. He made wooden chairs in Nazareth, a rural backwater, but God had promised that one day David's line would get their throne back, and Jesus was descended from David. The other family tree was the one Gabriel had already told Mary about. The Lord was a title used for God, and when a heavenly angel uses this title in the midst of a crowd of God's glory, the implication is pretty clear. The baby is divine. The baby is divine. What a nice. God introduces Jesus as human loyalty and has heavenly loyalty. Enters a king. So, what job has this royal baby come to do? Today, in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord. God have given his son two jobs. First, he was a Messiah. Still is, in fact, really. And those shepherds probably hadn't spent much time in the town school or the local Jewish synagogue, but they would have known just how significant the arrival of God's Messiah was. Messiah, or in the Greek, that the elite spoke in those days, Christ was a title which meant God's promised king. For centuries, God had been promising to send his king into the world, not just any king, but the king. The king who would rule perfectly, the king who would rule selflessly, the king who would rule forever, the king whose rule would guarantee security for life and bring satisfaction to life. The king who would rule not only Israel as David had, but also the full world. The king who would restore the world to how God intended, restore the world to how God intended to be the perfect place He'd created. This world is um like um impressed. I impressed with this phrase, so I gotta check. Hmm? Intended. King who would restore the world to how God intended. King, oh shit. I was touched. I was moved by the spirit. I was moved by the spirit. Okay. 感動したっていうのは I was moved by the spirit. I was moved. Okay. I was moved. This. Great. Alright. Keep going. To be the perfect place he created. All of that was summed up in the word Messiah. Over the centuries, God had given clues so that people would be able to recognize the Messiah when he finally appeared. He had spoken through his messengers, prophets, and told his people that the Messiah would be one of David's descendants. He told them that the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem. And now, on the hillside outside Bethlehem, he announced that at last the Messiah had been born. The end of disappointment. Who your leader is really matters. Uh, the day after the US election in 2016, I was on a plane from London to Boston. No American on that plane that day thought that the leader their nation had chosen was irrelevant to their lives. Irrelevant to their lives. their hopes, their safety, and their futures. Some of them were feeling really pleased that Donald Trump was about to become the 45th president. Some of them were at quite some volume. Quiet, quite some volume. Feeling very much the opposite. Fast forward to 2020, and Trump was out and Biden was in, and I imagine the scene on the plane that day would be similar. Some passengers delighted and others gutted. Leadership matters. It's why we get annoyed with our leaders. It's why we feel down by our leaders. It's why we get excited about possible future leaders. And the problem is that sooner or later, and probably sooner, our leaders disappoint us. Either because of changes in circumstances or their own shortcomings. They don't keep promises, they make mistakes. Of course they do. They are only human, and the mixture of power and pressure that goes with leadership tends to widen the cracks in our characters. We know we need God leaders, but finding them seems hard you know. And if only we could find someone good enough at ruling our country to give us and everyone else the security and satisfaction we want, someone who was always able to know what the right thing to do was, and then was always unselfish enough to do it. Some of us are still looking for a leader like that. Some of us have given up, deciding none of them will be good enough. Actually, we're both right. Leadership can sort everything out, but no leader we can find is a leader who will sort it out. Like, and some people who lived their hopes in judges, kings, warriors, homegrown rulers, emperors. Now them have delivered. They learn to be as cynical about leaders' promises as most of us are. Cynical. Okay, cynical. It's an interesting word. They still wanted a ruler. It was just that they had learned through experience that only a perfect man could be perfect ruler, and they hadn't found one. Until now, until God's angel said to some very ordinary people, "He is here, the Messiah, God's promised king, who could actually deliver on his promises, had arrived." That was great news for those shepherds then, and it's great news for us today. There is a ruler who offers to rule us perfectly, selflessly forever, giving us security throughout life and satisfaction in life. There is a ruler who can get rid of the things which stop our lives being as we'd like them to be. Who can get rid of suffering, injustice, fear, and even death. There is a king who can establish endless perfection on earth. He is God's Messiah, and he is the leader we are looking for. A strange addition. But that's not all. This baby had a second job. The angel didn't only say the Messiah had been born, he also said that a Savior had been born. Jesus' job wasn't only to be a ruler, but also to be a rescuer. Why do the people need rescuing? The answer to that question would be yet another shock. But the shepherds and everyone else who had to wait to find it out. For now, they were starting to come to terms with what had just happened out on the hillside. Okay, these had two um jobs. Um, as Messiah, Messiah as a savior. Save from what? Messiah. Messi- Okay, so the summary of this chapter is like Jesus had Jesus was born as a Messiah. So and God intended to send Jesus to the ground as Messiah. So uh there are no wait, there these days at the time there are no God, there are no uh king. People needed 絶対的な absolute king. Okay, absolute is absolute king. God sent Jesus as Messiah. Hmm. Okay, and I will also have to check the words, the meaning of the words, and in charge of. Okay, and by the way, when I when I checked the meaning of the words, I'm using a ChatGPT. This is um so good way for language learning, I think. I will say ChatGPT is one of the best way to learn the foreign language, especially for translating or changing the natural expression or changing into my uh poor expression to a natural native expression. In charge of is responsible for. Okay. All right, just a second. I got some message from my friends. How can I um stop the pop out dashboard? How can I do that? I don't know how to stop the um just a sec. Okay, I will leave here just a little bit. Right, just a sec. In charge of, right? I'm gonna add some words in my word book. In charge of, yeah, in charge of is actually, I often hear this, I often met this expression, in charge of. According to ChatGPT, it is responsible responsible for, or like take care of, responsible for, or take care of, or something. And manage, or oversee. It's also handle. In charge of. I am in charge of project management. What is that? Couple. When the couple in charge of that year's nativity. Okay. Safe. And iOS nativity. What is nativity? Nativity is like birth. I see. Nativity. Redemption. Nativity. Nativity. The birth of Christ. Oh, interesting. And improvise. What is improvise mean? Improvise. improvise. 即興で行う。improvise means 即興で行う。improvise. Oh, I see. Perform without preparation. Perform without preparation. That's interesting. Music words adapt to the situation. I see, adapt to the situation. Adrift. Improvise their words. Oh, see. Cuddly or cute. Cuddly. What does cuddly mean? There are many words I don't know. Cuddly. Cuddly is um the soft and huggable. Interesting. Um, cuddly, soft, and huggable. I see. That's it's like cuddly and terrified. Terrify, I know. Terrify is like be scared or intimidate, right? Terrify. What terrify mean? Terrify. Terrify. To what I do? To frighten someone. To right. Frighten someone. Um, greatly. All right. So to frighten someone greatly. Okay. Scare. Alarm. Scare. All right. And next, tinsel. I didn't. It's first time to met these words. Stumble across. I just stumbled across these words. Tinsel. Shiny decorative material. Okay. Tinsel. Shiny decorative materials. Mm, sparkle. Okay. Next words is disrupt. Disrupt. I know this word, but I don't. Disrupt. Okay. Disrupt. Disrupt means interrupt. In interrupt, disturb. Okay. Okay. We got a hitch. Hitch. Ooh. See, hitch. Get married. Amy Maria. Hitch. Hitchhike. Alright. So divine. Yeah. So actually, actually, I have to go to gym and yeah, I have a meeting for my craft. So I gonna finish my the reading book project today. Uh, after reading the chapter 3. Okay, so this is the last chapter of today. There's eight chapters total. So yeah, it's almost there. Half. Okay, let's go. Take a look. The nativity play was going well. Jesus had been born. The angels had announced his birth without too much waving, and no one had run away. And now Mary and Joseph were waiting for a visit from the shepherds. It never happened. From the side of the stage came raised voices. Instead of walking on, the shepherds had started to argue. I meant to go on first. No, Mrs. Cole said it was my turn. Before anyone could intervene, the shepherds were using their crooks to smack each other on the head. Soon the three of them were in a full-on fight. Finally, a grown-up reached the battle, disentangled them, and pushed them through a door out of the hall. The nativity play carried on, but at the ear, no shepherds visited the baby. What really happened? The shepherds said to one another, let's go to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has told us about. So they hurried off and found Mary and Joseph and the baby, who was lying in a manger. Of course, everyone who heard it was amazed at what the shepherds said to them. The shepherds themselves returned to their sheep and their fields and the darkness. Those things were just the same as they'd been several hours before, but life wasn't. God could have chosen a royal palace to announce Jesus' birth or a religious temple. He hadn't. He'd picked their field. They spent the rest of the night glorifying and praising God for all the things they had heard and seen. Mary was simply exhausted. She knew that the events of the past 24 hours were of life-changing, world-shaping significance. She also knew it would take a long time, perhaps her whole life, to process what had gone on. She treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart. Why it really matters. If God's Messiah, God's Son, really came to live in this world, that's of huge significance. It means that we can know what God is like. It means that we can know what God thinks of us. And it means that we can know how God designed us to live. And therefore, what will make us happiest. If God's Messiah was born and laid in a manger in Bethlehem, that's huge for all people in every place and in every time. So the vital question facing the shepherd was it true? Had the angel made it up? Had they made the angel? Was it all a dream, a mistake, a joke? There was only one way to find out for sure. Sensibly, they said to each other, let's go to Bethlehem and see. The angel had told them they'd find a baby wrapped in clothes. This was normal enough. And lying in a manger, a food slough for animals, this was less normal. The shepherds could go and look for themselves. Either this baby in a manger would be there, or he wouldn't. Either Jesus the Messiah had been born, or he hadn't. It was a question of fact or false. This is one of the great things about Christianity. It centers on claims about historical fact. You might think those claims are all true, or you might be very doubtful, but in the end, Christianity is not about feelings or following the views of the family or culture you grew up in, or finding some secret knowledge. It's about facts of history. It's about whether or not this happened. Either the Messiah was born and put in that manger on that night in the town, as the angels announced his arrival, in which case he is God's promised perfect king, or he wasn't, and they didn't, and Jesus is either a figment of someone's imagination or just a normal baby among thousands of normal babies born that year, in which case Christianity is false, made up, and not worth your time. Check, don't assume. When the sheriffs looked into it, they discovered it was all just as they had been told. What they found in Bethlehem backed up the angel's claims on the hillside. It had happened. They checked it out and found it was fact. In the 21st century, many people just assume that Christianity is a false. They don't check. They assume. Equally, some people just assume that the for Jesus, the Messiah, thing is true, without thinking about it. And often, when their views are challenged, their faith falls over. When I trained as a journalist, the man who taught us had been a sub-editor for years. He was a small Welsh guy and he had two favorite lines which I can still hear him saying as I write this. One was "That's useless." Actually, he used a stronger, shorter word beneath. The other word, assume, makes a donkey. Again, he used a stranger. No, sorry. Again, he used a stronger, shorter word. Out of you and me. Alright? Time and again, he told us that when it comes to reporting, opinions and claims don't matter. What people think is irrelevant. What counts are facts. Don't assume you know the truth, he insisted. Check out the facts, what really happened. That's what the shepherds did, and they found the angel's claims was true. Unfortunately, we're 2000 years too late to go and see the manger for ourselves, but we can still make sure we don't just assume one way or the other. Is this truly facts or false? We can see whether Luke, the writer who tells us about the shepherds, was writing historical facts. We can see whether his story matches what else we know about the part of history. We can read the rest of his biography of Jesus and see if it was a ring of truth to it. We can look into whether what happened at the beginning of Jesus' life is fact, and we can explore whether what happened at the end, when he died and then rose again, is really fact too. I know people who, when they began to look into the Gospels' claims about Jesus, have been surprised by what they found. I know that I was surprised too when I began to look into them. If you want to follow the shepherds and check out if the claims of Christianity are true, the best place to start is by grabbing a copy of Luke's biography or gospel about Jesus. And if you are wondering whether Luke's gospel is genuinely historically reliable, page 69 will get you started and point you to some other things to read which go into more detail. But for now, we needed to leave the shepherds in their fields because the story's focus switches to a mysterious country. So having doubt is important. The words like interbeing. Interbeing is like interbeing means to become involved in a situation or to occur between two events or points in time. intervene ってむずいよね。少しいてた君が教えてくれた花 to become involved in a situation or to occur between two events or points in time. He acted outside his authority when he intervened in the dispute. Sample sentence is like uh, to occur for or come between points of time. Let's see. Intervene to stop a fight. これがちょっとわかりやすいかな。intervene to stop a fight. 喧嘩を仲裁に入るみたいな。intervene to stop a fight. Alright, that's fine. Ooh. She was good. Yep. So I finished reading to read chapter 3. So see you later.